breakdown in this case. You should be prepared for both. So if it gives a breakdown, concept is entirely the same. What will you do? Either you firstly want good volume with price filter and time filter. Where will your SL be? Just above the consolidation. If you are trading the lower high, just within the consolidation. As simple as that. S1, S2, S3 as your target 1, target 2, target 3. This is a very basic flag pattern example. I'll just give you 2 or 3 important advanced level points over here when you're looking at a flag. Now, if let's say that there is a flag and again there is a consolidation, but the height of the consolidation is very big, something like this. And then if it gives a breakout or a breakdown, whatever the case may be, we say that we should not take a trade immediately in this case if it's a breakout or a breakdown. Why? If the height of this consolidation is very big and if it is giving a breakout or a breakdown, we should not trade that immediately. Why? RR is not good, the SL is too good. SL is too bad. SL is too big. Your risk to reward ratio is not good. If it's a breakout over here, this itself, let's say, is a 100-point consolidation range, then my SL becomes very big. That is why you need that higher low or that lower high, whatever the case may be. Secondly, if let's say that again there is a flag, consolidation is reasonable, but the length of the consolidation is too big. Now if it gives a breakout, so is the probability of that breakout being false, is it high or is it low if the consolidation is way too big? Why? Both. How can it be both? Okay, I'll give you an example in layman's terms. I want you all to listen to this example carefully, and I then want you all to take up a decision. Let's say there's a game of football. There's team A and team B playing. The players have played the game. All right. Now, usually, what happens after the first 45 minutes, there is a short break of 15-20 minutes. But instead of that 15-20 minutes, for some reason, the players take a break for 2-3 hours. What does this indicate? Probably something is wrong with the players. Probably either they are not interested in playing, probably they are injured, whatever the case may be. But tell me one thing, if the players have played in the market, or the players have played the game of football, so a reasonable break is fair enough. Before that they continue their game. But if the break becomes unreasonable, then isn't that something which is fishy? Yes or no? So that is why try to understand the same thing. Players have played in the market. A reasonable break is fine. But if the break starts to become too big, so now there's a high risk that probably something is wrong and there's a high risk of a false breakout in this case. So in this case, always either wait for a retest or wait for that higher low. I know most of you all must be wondering if this is a strong foundation, this is a very strong build-up, but that does not really happen. What we are trying to do is we are trying to safeguard ourselves. अब देख लो काफी charts, this is not the case. Many a times if this is a very big consolidation, Yesterday's example. AstraZeneca Pharma, day chart. A very big consolidation started around September 20th, went on for till January, couple of months. The risk of false breakout increases. Technically, the breakout should have sustained if the build-up is good, but that isn't the case. Think of this. Why weren't the buyers immediately, if the sentiment was good over here? The sentiment was good over here. Buyer sentiment was good. A short break is okay. Few people are offloading and new people are onboarding. So the sentiment should have continued, right? Why has the sentiment diminished over the period of time? As simple as that. ये पॉइंट सबको समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं?
Fishy, yeah.
Yes or no?
So can we also say कि momentum की strength basically कम हो रही है, dissipate हो रही है?
Same thing. The sentiment is diminishing. So keep this thing in your mind. Okay, again, how long? There's no particular rule for that. That is separate. Just one additional thing, a breakout or a flag can be something like this also. And this is very commonly occurring. What does this look like? Falling wedge. A higher high, higher low structure. Higher high,
consolidation and breakout again, right?
same thing. So higher high, higher low structure, primary trend A to D, secondary trend B to C. Within that secondary trend, this is your minor trend. जिसके अंदर ये fluctuation हो रहा है. The flag is mostly like your minor trend. These are your minor trends inside that secondary trend. So structure could be something like this, or structure could be like this. Same thing. I'll just draw it properly. Higher high, higher low can be like this, or higher high, higher low can be like this also. Same thing. So I know that is his theory, but I showed you an example. This is my theory. I always wait for a retest, or I wait for that higher low. Again, to be on the safer side of the market. I never trade breakouts. I don't take that sort of a risk in the market. If that retest sustains, if that retest sustains, then it will definitely create a very big consolidation. It will give you a very big move after that. It will sustain very well. But वो retest होने तो we are just looking at the base criteria. That foundation is strong or not after the breakout is happening. Am I clear, Sumit? Same is the opposite version of this inverted flag. Nothing new over here. All the entire concept is the same. The only one point I want to share is, if you are trading flags, try to limit yourself to smaller time frames and intraday time frames, because sometimes on the bigger time frames, things could become completely different. Let me show you an example. Now this case, this is a pole, this is your flag. Now it might look like an inverted flag and pole, but this is your day chart. If I go as per the theory also, this is approximately how many points? 40% correction, 4,000, 5,000 points. So do you think that after the breakdown is happening over here, it will further fall 5,000 points? You can't shut down the market entirely. So अगर आप बड़े time frame पे अगर कर भी रहे हो, तो what you need to be very careful about is that your flag should be very small, something like this. Something like this. This is fine. These all are fine. These all are your flags. But don't take a flag something like this. Don't consider a flag something like this. It's wrong. And as I said, try to limit yourself to intraday when it comes to flags. This is point clear to all. Ronak, I think it will take another 15-20 minutes.
Malik, can you show more examples, practical examples? Because इससे तो जो आप है मेरे को higher low ही समझ में आ रहा था.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Flags are nothing but your higher low or your lower high low. This is another flag over here. It is what? Nothing but your higher low.
Yeah. Okay. And you.
It's a combination of support resistance and market structure. If you understand market structure, you put the market.
Yeah, got it. So, can you just see Sun Pharma? Sun Pharma में जो ये बना रहा है अभी last में, so is it a flag?
This is not a flag. This is a rounded sort of a structure being created.
Okay.
However, इसको भी ऐसे technically it's not a flag, but you can in a way say a flag. But this is what you are hired with. But this is pharma. That is what I say. Pharma I don't do.
So do you trade this flag pattern, sir?
Sorry.
Do you trade this flag patterns of the breakout?
I trade flag patterns, but on smaller time frames.
Okay.
It's again what your market structure. But the only difference is I'll buy at the bottom, not at the breakout. मैं यहाँ पे कहीं पे buying कर लूँगा और just at the break of this level only. Same thing.
इसमें स्टॉप लॉस छोटा रहेगा आपका.
Stop छोटा होता है.
सर बट इस केस में जैसे लॉजिकली देखा जाए तो जैसे जो आप फ्लैग एंड बोला भी बोल रहे थे फार्मा में, इसमें 60% से भी नीचे जा चुका, मतलब अगर जैसे फिबोनाची रिट्रेसमेंट लगा के देखते हैं तो
मैं थोड़ा सा लॉजिकल में होता ही है.
क्योंकि सर मतलब बेसिक तो मतलब बेसिकली तो ऐसे ही यूज करते हैं ना फ्लैग एंड बोल की लो से टॉप तक फिबोनाची रिट्रेसमेंट बना लो, 50 to 60 के बीच में अगर रिट्रेसमेंट रुकती है तो वहां बाय कर लो.
वो जब फिबोनाची कराऊंगा तो साथ में समझ आएगा. In a way, yes, you are right.
Okay.
But not completely also, in a way you are right. See, now just like a flag, you have something which is known as a pennant, which is very similar to a flag. Pennant क्या होता है मैं दिखा देता हूँ. So it's a flag only, but a triangular flag. Bas. That is the only difference. However, I say that the accuracy of a pennant is a little more higher than the flag. Why मैं आपको समझाता हूँ. But let's just quickly cover a flag, a pennant, pole followed by a triangle. What is happening in this case? Market is moving in a triangular-like structure. Now, if the breakout happens, volume should be high. Wherever required, time filter and price filter should be applied. Target R1, R2, R3, whatever the case. SL क्या होगा इसमें? What will be my SL? Will it be the immediate low or will it be the previous low? अभी ये बताओ. The SL, will it be the immediate low or the previous low?
Immediate low.
सर इमीडिएट लो, क्योंकि अगर प्रीवियस लो तक आ गया तो फिर स्ट्रक्चर ही चेंज हो जाएगा मार्केट का.
So doesn't that make sense कि हम previous low रखें? तभी तो structure change हो रहा है.
नहीं प्रीवियस लो ही बोल रहा हूँ मैं, मतलब प्रीवियस लो ही बोल रहा हूँ, जो फर्स्ट लो मतलब जो.
Okay, first and second. So we'll go for the first one, previous low, not the immediate low. Because only before the previous low the structure will reverse. Not before that. Over here it could be a double bottom also, whatever the case may be. Again it can form a constant bottom and go up. But if it breaks the previous low, then your SL is triggered. As simple as that. And if it gives the breakdown instead of a breakout, the previous high will be your SL. As simple as that. This will be SL. You can trade the breakdown or you can trade the lower. So overall, are you all getting the logic? Overall, everything is the same. What are we doing? We are just taking trades on the break of a trend line, break of a support, break of a resistance, etc. etc. Targets S1, S2, S3. Almost like a pennant over here. This is a flag. Parents ज़्यादा होते नहीं है. Parents are little lower.
भैया one question, आप market structure में how are you accurately identifying the higher low while reading the trade or the lower high?
Yeah, we are always looking at the higher low or the lower high.
No, that I'm saying, how are you accurately identifying कि उधरी low high form करेगा या वही higher low?
As I said, wait for that RSI and Fibonacci session to understand.
Okay.
Now I told you flags से better, parents are a little better than flags. Can someone tell me a logical reason why?
क्योंकि हमें
सामने ही है,
पता
यहाँ पे
है
next to ऐसा
फ्लैग तो खत्म होगा कभी ना कभी.
I personally feel parents are a little better than flags.
Tighter consolidation with time.
Loss of momentum and high.
नहीं, lower low is decreasing. मतलब आपका change हो रहा है. मतलब buyers are ready. मतलब now buying at a higher price.
Basically, the pressure is building up within a zone. OEM या the apex point. This is known as the apex of the triangle. So उसके पहले एक build up हो रहा है. When it's coming to this point, उसको कोई side पे breakout देना ही देना है. OEM in this case, the consolidation can go for on and on and on, and after that it can also give a false breakout also. And in this case, the risk to reward sometimes could be terrible. In this case, the risk to reward would be quite favorable as compared to. So is this point clear to all?
Yeah. Himalay, one more thing. What's the right time to get entry? मतलब जब breakout हो रहा हो, जैसे कि अगर pendant वाला है.
It's up to you. If you want to trade the breakout immediately or you want to trade that higher low, that is totally up to you. That base concept is the same.
जैसे कि MRF है. MRF is something like this only अभी right now. Triangle है but breakout देके now they are forming very big candles.
They are double bottoms, not a triangle.
Okay. Last में शायद.
It's shifted structure to a higher high, higher low. You can see it in that manner also. Not a triangle. Okay. Now then comes triangles. The next pattern which is there are known as the triangles. Now it may seem very similar to pennants. Might get a little confusing, but don't confuse yourself. उसमें pole नहीं होता. And as I said, ultimately these patterns do not really matter as much. So there are three type of triangles. अब इसमें समझो symmetrical triangle looks quite similar to your pennant, but the only difference is there is no pole for a symmetrical triangle. Let me show you an example. The rest of the concept is same. If it gives a breakout, your previous low will be your SL. If it gives a breakdown, your previous high will be the SL, etc., etc. So over here in this case, you can see there's a triangle formation. Now we can't consider this as a pole. This does not make sense. As I said, how many points are these? Right from my 2300 approximately to my 1800, 450 points. So now that if it gives a breakdown, can I say that Reliance can further plunge 450 points without any reason? Is it logical? Is it logical without any reason Reliance will correct a further 20%? Without?
Not at all.
Does not make sense. This is more like your triangle. Now इसमें भी आप देखो triangle में breakdown जो हुआ है काफी choppy way में हुआ. After that, what has happened? It has gone into a consolidation zone with a false breakout, consolidation zone. Finally, we got a breakout, retest, and from there market went up. Are you all getting this point? Clear हो रहा है? Yes or no? Are the charts now being simpler, easier लग रहा है identify what are we doing exactly, where are we taking a trade, where are we not taking a trade. अब यहाँ पे जिन्होंने breakdown trade किया होगा they must have been trapped. यहाँ तक trap हो गए होंगे. That is why I say wait for that lower high. As the market formed that lower high, no, it's formed a constant high. So nothing to, no sort of a trade that we can take over here. Unless if I want to trade that consolidation, short the top, buy the bottom, short the top, buy the bottom. Now the other two types of triangles are ascending and descending triangle. Now in ascending triangle, what happens is there is a constant high, but with a formation of a higher low, which means that there is a resistance level and the support level is a trend line. So in this case, what is the book saying? That eventually each and every time that the market is forming a higher low, it is indicating that the strength of the buyers is increasing. Yes, since it is forming that higher low, the strength of the buyers is increasing. That is why an ascending triangle will give you a breakout, which is not true. It is not necessary. I am not saying that it cannot give a breakout, but what I am trying to say is an ascending triangle can also give a breakdown. Why? Because if I look at the same picture in a different manner, what I am saying is time and again the sellers are able to respect this level and are able to push the buyers down. Ultimately, what can happen is they can trap the buyers, pushing them down completely. I'll show you an example again. Similarly, in case of a descending triangle, what is happening? There is a constant support with a trend line resistance, with the lower high formation happening. So what the book says is that since there is a lower high formation happening, the strength of the sellers is eventually increasing. पहले sellers यहाँ पे थे, फिर और नीचे आ गए, अब और नीचे आते जा रहे. So it should give a breakdown. But that is not the case. On the contrary, what can happen is the buyers are time and again respecting and supporting this level. So what they could do is they could trap the sellers and give a breakout as well. Let me show you an example. Again, coming back to AstraZeneca. What sort of a triangle is this? The orange में जो highlighted है, let's see. Support with a trend line resistance, a lower high resistance, descending triangle. Book says there should be a breakdown, but what do I see? A breakout happening. Buyers managed to hold that ground. Buyers managed to give a breakout. So I'll give you all a trick over here. कि generally breakout कौन से direction में हो सकता है. The trick is that the breakout in 90% of the cases, again it's not a concrete theory, this is just an estimated theory. So 90% of the cases, the breakout will happen in the direction of the existing trend. So the existing trend in this case was an uptrend. Thus, it again gave a breakout, not a breakdown. Shifting a market structure is very difficult. Now, when I say this, it is on the bigger time frame, not on a smaller time frame. Please make note of that. Smaller time frame like a 5-minute and all, reversing a structure is not as difficult. Very easy. You can see during your 5-minute charts, multiple times the structure will reverse. But as and when the time frame increases, they start becoming bigger and bigger. So shifting the structure also becomes very difficult. Is this point clear to all? So since we are on the day chart, there was already an existing uptrend. तो यहाँ से structure reverse करना बहुत difficult होता है, and 90% of the time it will continue its trend only. So this was a descending trend over here. A couple of quick points. This is SL target, so I hope everyone knows targets. If it gives a breakdown, my previous high will be my SL. However, if it gives a breakout, just below my support zone will be my SL. Same is the case over here. If it gives a breakout, my previous low will be my SM. If it gives a breakdown, just above the resistance will be my SM. Are the triangle patterns clear to all? कुछ भी नहीं है इसमें. Again, it's just trend lines. A mix and match of trend lines and support levels. Yes or no? Any doubts? Make sure you take note of this example. AstraZeneca, July 2020 के आसपास. It formed a triangle, a descending triangle, but it gave a breakout. Finally, there is one pattern which is known as the wedge. सबसे बकवास pattern होता है, in my opinion. I'll tell you why. Again, I'll give you a logical reason behind it. पहले देखते हैं what is a wedge. A wedge is a tool which looks something like this. So the pattern is also very similar to this. Now the problem with wedges is that they also look like triangles only. However, let's talk about what a rising wedge is. A rising wedge is usually formed in a downtrend. So it says that there is a downtrend, then after that market is going in a brief uptrend and again giving us a breakdown. Looks more or less like a triangle or a flag, you could say. But the only difference is this triangle is at an angle. हमने जो पहले देखा था यहाँ पे, this was a straight triangle. But यहाँ पे triangle क्या है? It is at an angle, an upside angle, known as the rising wedge. Now, why do I say this is not a very good pattern? Is because, again, think of it logically. What did I tell you a few minutes back? Market is in a downtrend, forming what? A lower high, lower low structure. Now, उसके बाद it's shifting its structure to a higher high, higher low. Now, again, it is shifting its structure to a lower high, lower low. Does it make sense to shift the structure that easily? बताओ. Hello. It does not. Same is the case for a falling wedge. Existing uptrend, falling wedge. Again, it's saying it's giving a breakout. Technically, it does not make too much sense. What is happening? It's saying that the market was in a higher high, higher low structure. Then again, the structure is reversing to a lower high, lower low. Again, it is going in a higher high, higher low structure. Does not make sense. Markets never move in such a manner. A very poor pattern, in my opinion. I'll show you an example. US 30. I think it was on US 30 or US 100. Triangles are by far the way to be trapped in the market. So even if you're an advanced trader, if you learn market structure, many a times what will happen is, if it's only in situations of a triangle, Suryaveer, it's only in case of a triangle where a market structure trader can be trapped. And in that situation, everyone will be trapped in the market. Triangles are difficult to trade until and unless they give a breakout. Because उसमें क्या हो रहा है? A formation is like this. So you do not know if it's forming a higher high, higher low. At this point, you might think it's forming a higher low. You will take a long. Immediately, it's forming a lower high. You will take a short. So you get trapped. Initial stage when you get trapped till the time you realize it's a triangle and you need not trade that. Okay? So this is your case of a rising wedge. It says that the structure was in an uptrend, gave a breakdown. Immediately, it ended up in a false breakdown. And what did I say? Existing trend के direction में ही market move करता है. The existing trend was an uptrend. After that, it continued to move in an uptrend. It just trapped a few traders over here, giving it as a signal of a breakdown. It said that this trend line has broken. Let's go short. It attempted for an inside candle breakdown over here. Did not sustain. Markets went back up. That is why I do not rely on this pattern as much. It can trap you. So on that note, all the patterns are completed. I'll just quickly give you the reliability wise priority of the patterns. So unidirectional में the first one is double tops and double bottoms. Second place पे head and shoulder and inverted head and shoulder. Third पे cup and handle and inverted cup and handle. And fourth पे rounded tops, rounded bottoms. Bidirectional में triangles are the most important, followed by pennants, followed by flags, and lastly the wedges. Now, why are wedges not as good? वो मैंने आप लोग को logical explanation दिया है, but this is not a bookish theory or this is not a conclusive theory. This is my personal view that I'm sharing with you. So please make note of that. Wedge formation, again, it's very simple. It looks like a big triangle. यहाँ पे देखो. More or less, it looks like a higher only. But that squeeze is coming in. That apex is coming in. ये apex point बन रहा है eventually. Momentum loss, एक apex बन रहा है. So that is basically a wedge. So you have to be very careful once you're reaching near the apex of the wedge. थोड़े दिन ट्रेड नहीं करोगे बेटर है. आफ्टर दैट वंस द मार्केट सेटल डाउन देन यू कैन कंटिन्यू विद योर ट्रेड्स. Point clear? Yes, all the patterns are as effective on all the time frames, but as I said, flags, try and use it on a smaller time frames. Wedges भी smaller time frames पे use कर सकते हो, bigger पे मत use करो तो better है. Other than that, I think all are same, no difference. Priority wise, unidirectional में first is double tops, double